this is RC2K, and today I'm going to be showing you how to clean, maintain, take out everything with your transmission. And I'm going to be using my slash. So first, I'm going to show you what you will need today. Today, you will need some type of grease. I recommend white lithium grease. You'll need your 2mm wrench, 3mm, something to take off your wheels, and also, you'll most likely need something to clean the old grease with. Next, you will want to prop up your car and take off the rear wheels. Now that the rear wheels and tires are off, we are ready to start. Step 2 is taking off the gear cover right here. Next, locate the 2 screws under and above the pinion gear. Now take those out. I already did that, but after you take those out, your motor will pull out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it aside. You can take it off, but I'm not going to do that. Next, you want to take off this nut that's holding the spur gear down. Okay, after that is off, take off the spring like that and set it aside, and then take off the spur gear. Under that, there will be this and this, which you can pull both of those out and also put those aside, like that. Next, you will want to take out the screws that hold the rear bumper on. Take the rear bumper off, and also there will be a couple of screws that keep this like guard on. So you'll want to take that out also. Next, we're going to move on to the suspension. The next step you can do in many different ways, but this is how I do it. I take out the 2 screws that hold the rear arms on. I already unscrewed them, but you get the point. So you take them out, and everything will kind of flop. After you get the rear arms off, you can just leave them just like that. But what we're going to do next is we're going to flip the whole thing over. After you flip it over, the rear arms will still be kind of dangling. But what we're going to do is we're going to remove those 6 screws that are holding down the whole gearbox. So take out those screws. After unscrewing the last screw, you are going to flip your truck back over. After you have flipped your truck back over, you want to look right down there, and those 2 screws you will have to take out. After you have those 2 screws unscrewed, as you can see, you're going to look on the other side, and there are 2 more. So I'm going to get at those right now. Now there is like one more step before this whole thing is coming down. So, if you can see right there, there's going to be a screw right there that you're gonna unscrew, and there's one on the other side too. Right there. It's kind of hard to see, but you take those off. After you have taken those 2 screws off, everything is just gonna like come off like this. Look at that. And what you can do is these you can pull those out and set those aside on both sides. Pull the drive shafts apart. And what you can do is you can kind of just like put it over here. Like that whole part just came off. So now, what you're going to do is this gearbox will come right off, but it takes a little bit of muscle right there. See it popped off? This is what you need to oil everything up, okay? So you got to take this off, pull it off, and then we're ready. You can set everything aside because all we're going to be focusing on right now is this gearbox. Now what we are going to do first, it's super easy. So right here, this kind of axle thing, you'll notice there's a pin running through it right there. And what you're going to do is you just push it out. You don't need any tools, you just push it out, kind of pull it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some pliers, some needle nose pliers. But really, you could do it with your hands. It comes right out. It's just that little tiny pin. Don't lose it. I've already lost it. Thankfully, I found it. I would have had to run to the hobby shop for a new one. Anyway, now that you've done that, the next step is to unscrew all of these screws right here. It might take a minute. They are long screws. So I'm going to do that right now. Alright, after you pull out the last screw, there you should check. There should be no more screws. No more screws. Okay, so for the next step, you will need your grease. Got it right here. And you will need your cleaning stuff. Before we get to the next step, you can pull it apart and like this. So you can just kind of pull them apart and you'll see everything. Alright, so I cleaned mine earlier. It was covered with brown grease. It was really gross, took a while. But pretty much, it's not that complicated. When you're cleaning, just pull everything out. There's bearings. Just pull everything out. And right now, I'll show you how to put it back together. You will have two halves. Both have two holes in them, which you will stick the bearings in after you clean them up. Not too hard. So you just stick the bearings in. Next, you are going to take this half. So if you're looking at it from like the front, it'll be the left half. If you're looking at it from the back, the right half. So you'll take this half right here, and this is what we're going to be putting the gears in. So here's your differential. Nothing super complicated, just stick it in the hole through the bearing. Should spin nicely. Next, you will need this little rod, little rod, and there's a hole right here. Just pop it right in. After that, you will take one of your washers. I think I am missing a few washers, but this is how I'm going to do it. You may want to put more washers in, but put one washer all the way down. Then you will have here your idle gear, I believe, and you'll put a bearing in each side of it. So there's two bearings inside of it, and you'll slide it down on that rod. Should be fairly easy sometimes. Next, you'll just put a washer on top. Next, your whatever this is called. It's the smallest and longest. You'll put that through the last bearing. Yeah, the second bearing. You'll put it through. So this is what it should look like. Should all be. Check for any cracked teeth. I've already checked. I don't have any. They should be all spinning. Should feel pretty. Shouldn't feel like you're like trying to turn it. And right now we're gonna oil it. Sorry, I meant grease it. My bad. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to grease the gears. It is not too hard, but you want to be careful. Now you don't want to do so much that you're flooding the case like you do in the differential. You don't want to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to apply just little bits by little bits, which I'm going to do in a second, but I want to explain first. Just some here, some here, some here. And what it's going to do is when you're turning it, it's going to spread it through all the gears. So you don't want to just start putting grease on these. You want to do it, apply all of it on the differential, but it'll spread. Alright, let's start. So do a little bit, slide it. Do a little bit, make sure it's going in the teeth. Actually, I'm going to get a different. So as you can see, I'm just applying just a little bit by a little bit towards the bottom of the gear. Doesn't have to be at the bottom. Kind of getting it in the teeth. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. And maybe spin it just for a minute. And then just kind of keep on going. until you know it's enough, which I'll put a picture in after this showing you how much it is. So I'm going to finish this right now. I'm having some trouble doing it in this position, but I'm going to finish it and then show you a picture of what it should look like. This is about how much you want to have on. It'll get a little messy around there and right there, but you can clean that off, or you can just keep it there and clean it off the next time. So that's how it should be. Now what we're going to do, I'm not going to show you how to put it back on because you already know how to put everything together. But basically, I'm going to just like do a summary. So you put this back on. There's 6 screws. Put it back on the truck, and then put the rest of the screws on that we took off before. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you need any help, I know this wasn't the best video, but it works. I wanted to do a nice fast video on how to do this. If you have any questions about putting it back together or anything, leave it in the comments below. This is RC2K. Please subscribe, comment, like, and next video. So, thanks for watching.